Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final Correspondent Week podcast of Friday. There's 3 to go, and he's going to tell us that they're not important, but my fixture difficulty rating tells me different. Let me introduce you to our Everton correspondent, Sean Norton. How are you, Sean?
I'm good, thanks, James. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. I'm slightly fearful that Sean's going to wrap up this podcast in about 30 seconds rather than 30 minutes. But before we do that, we had a brief chat online. We're no further forward in terms of any speculation on takeover or anything like that. Is that right?
Yeah, it all just seems to be going on in the background, and I still think it's going to take a fair few weeks before that's wrapped up. There's every chance it's not done till after the transfer window's shut, by the
So
looks of things.
you do think something will happen potentially before the end of the year then?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely should be happening and finalised before the end of the year. Yeah,
Is that Mashiri out the picture? Or is he going
no,
to want part of it? We're talking about investment here, essentially.
yeah, it'll make him. MSP should become like the majority shareholders, so most of the decisions will be, made by them. But yeah, Moshiri still wants to retain a decent amount of shares because obviously he's hoping that the value of the club soars with the new stadium and he can claw back some of the tremendous losses that he's incurred on his investment.
Yeah. Okay. Can you spend?
I don't really think we can. I don't. Well, I think we can, but I just don't think we want to. You know what I mean? Like the stadium's costing that much. I think
Yeah, of course.
seen it with other clubs. Most of the focus tends to be on saving money towards that. So I don't expect to see Everton going out splashing.
There's also this one FFP charge hanging, which for context we have to say Manchester City have got 115 potentially. So I don't think it shouldn't lead to a points deduction. I don't think or anything like that. It probably is a fine incoming, but I guess that's enough that they ain't going to push the border, the barriers of it, if you will. It feels like with all these pods, I've had to go, yeah, by the way, we're recording on Friday morning here. And just in case there's any business done, doesn't feel this morning like I need to do that. But there you go. I've just said it in any case. Where do you need to strengthen most, Sean?
I'd say centre back, and we still need that striker that we've been looking for quite some time. Probably since Romelu Lukaku left. In fairness,
These opening fixtures are good, mate. Fulham at home, Villa away is obviously tough. Wolves at home, Sheffield United away. Arsenal at home's tough. Won it last year. Brentford away is challenging. I think you got a point there last year.
yeah.
Luton at home, Bournemouth at home. There's an opportunity in that first 8. There's a few clubs like Bournemouth, Forest, even Burnley got pretty rough starts. You've got the flip. You're the one team that we think will probably be towards the bottom end of the table who have an absolutely great run at the start of the season. And that's why, much to your dismay, Sean, most people are partly interested in Everton assets for FPL because it is on the fixtures. It is a good run, mate. Do you agree?
I think it's on paper it looks about as good as Everton or anyone's going to get, but I think people sort of don't support Everton will forget that we only started getting some results at the back end of last season because Yerry Mina come back in the team. And he's gone. He's left. His contract expired, and as of now, we haven't replaced him. Connor Cody's loan finished, and he's gone. And they were, with Tarkowski coming in last season, Tarkowski and Cody were two of the few things I was positive about this time last year when I recorded the pod. And Connor Cody played the first half of the season alongside Tarkowski, and they were decent. But then when Sean Dyche come in, Cody lost a bit of form. He was quickly out, and Michael Keane come in up until the last few games when Yerry Mina come in. And when Michael Keane was playing, we were shipping goals left, right, and centre. And so with no Yerry and with Cody going, and it doesn't look like there's any centre back about to join. Hopefully, I'm hoping Branthwaite will start the season.
Here we go.
He's back from his loan with Ajax, where he played really well.
PSV, wasn't it? I think PSV.
Sorry, PSV. Now he come on and played the second half against Stoke. So we've got a game tomorrow against Lisbon, Sporting Lisbon. So I'm hoping he starts. If he starts that, then I'll feel a little bit better, because I'd rather see Branthwaite playing than Michael Keane, because we know what we're going to get with Keane, and we'll get the odd good game here and there, but he struggles with his confidence, and he makes big mistakes. But we've also got Mikalenko, who's been out injured. I don't think he's that good anyway.
I don't think Dice rates him.
No. So I expect that's where Ashley Young's going to play. I know he's been playing further up in some of the friendlies, but I expect that Ashley Young will probably play left back.
I'm in agreement with that. And you think, just briefly, that Coleman's not fit, is he?
No. So we're waiting for Seamus to come back.
So I take it this time be Patterson at right back, or is he going to put someone like?
Patterson's been playing. He's back. He's fit. He's been playing. He's looked all right. He's taking a bit of stick in some of the friendlies, but I think Patterson will start the season like he did last season. So
yeah, but he's not 4.0 this time. Branthwaite is really interesting. I'll be honest with you, Sean. I think if he plays with those fixtures you've got in the first 8 or so, particularly if people are looking again, I'm going to wild card around 9 or 10. I think he's perfect. I think if he starts that game against Sporting Lisbon on Saturday, I can definitely be convinced to put him in. So as you said, Keane started with Tarkowski at Stoke. Did keep a clean sheet, it's worth saying. And played the first 45 minutes. But then Branthwaite played the second 45 minutes with Tarkowski. So we don't, it's almost like he's looked at both of them with Tarkowski, and now we're expecting the decision. Essentially, that's how it feels, doesn't it? And whichever one starts tomorrow is probably going to give us the answer.
I think so. And knowing Sean Dyche the way we do, I think we'd all probably expect him to play Michael Keane because
I get that
for experience, doesn't he? And I just think if Michael Keane starts the season, I wouldn't be touching anybody in Everton's defence. Really.
If Branthwaite starts that game against Sporting Lisbon, and let's say he plays 60 to 70 minutes, and Keane fills in the end of that game, how confident would you be in Branthwaite starting the opener against Fulham?
Well, yeah, I'd be very confident if he starts tomorrow, because I don't see why you wouldn't start the centre back that you're going to start against Fulham and only give him 30 minutes. You know what I mean? It doesn't. But Premier League managers do strange things, don't they? But if Branthwaite starts tomorrow, that'd say to me he's gonna start against Fulham. But I really wouldn't expect that. I'm going again, taking the kids, and when the team sheet's announced, that I'd imagine it'll be Michael Keane and Tarkowski. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong as well, because if Branthwaite starts, I think I'm going to go with him.
Well, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And he scored some goals as well at PSV when he was on loan. I'm sure there was one game where he scored 2 in the same game.
He scored in a game for you at Chelsea when you end up playing a load of kids under Benitez when you were absolutely crippled. I feel like you had about 6-7 kids on the pitch and he scored, didn't he?
Yeah. It was a decent goal. So he has got threat. He's definitely got goal threat.
Unlike many of the teams who you look at certain teams and you think, I've got 2 players at 4.5. Okay, I want to go with a fullback. Yours different. You almost feel like because of the way you are on set pieces, they're a one where I really want to potentially consider the centre back. You've got a 4.0 starting with that set of fixtures. That's not to say I'm going to pick him in my 11 every week, but it does feel absolutely ideal cover where if there's any nervousness on a rotated player or something like that, I can just go, sugar, they've got Wolves at home. I'll stick him in. There's Luton and Bournemouth at home. Stick him in. That's how it feels.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kept the clean sheet against Bournemouth on the final game of the season, didn't we? And Wolves aren't great at scoring goals, so you've got a bit of logic both ways, haven't you? So he's definitely worth one of very few Everton players that I'd say is worth considering. He's definitely worth thinking about. But the Sporting Lisbon game will say a lot. But there's a few players. You know, Dwight McNeil's injured. They haven't sort of said how long he's going to be out for, but it's feared it'll be like 4 to 6 weeks. You know, that impacts things massively. Damari Gray's potentially about to go to Fulham, and it'd be very like Everton to let him go early enough for him to play against us. Probably scored it.
Scored a winner in game week 1. Yeah,
it is the sort of thing that we do. So I'd imagine at that point to, on one hand, you think it points to maybe Danjuma playing out wide, because you know he sort of flitted between playing up front, playing out wide on the left. But then Lewis Dobbin's been decent in pre-season, and he's a good young player that I don't even think you've priced him up.
They haven't. And the thing is, if they do, I say everyone, a lot of people on a hunt for a 4.5 forward at the moment. If they price him up, he's basically got to go in at that, I think. I don't think you can't put him in at the same price as Morpay at 5.
No.
So they'd have to put him in at 4.5, I think.
Yeah.
And if Calvert-Lewin's not fit, again, he's going to start ahead of Morpay, isn't he?
I would imagine so. I think so. I mean, he scored in a behind closed door friendly the other night. He got a goal and an assist, and it was a cracking goal. It was a really good goal. He's got because he's got pace, and he likes to take people on, and he can finish. He had a few chances against Stoke, and he fluffed his lines, but he's a young lad, and that's going to happen. But he is a really exciting kid. He's someone that you get you on the edge of your seat, and you think, oh, this kid can make something happen. So he's one that I sort of got a bit of hope that I could get like a bit of excitement back in me Everton life by watching. But I'd imagine Danjuma would play up front because Calvert-Lewin's not fit. He played in the behind closed doors friendly game, so he's starting to get fitness. Mikalenko played as well, so he's starting to get some fitness back. But they're not going to be ready for the start of the season. So I'd imagine Dobbin will play out wide and Danjuma will play up front.
So Dobbin wouldn't play at 9, no?
No, he's like a the way the game's evolved, and we don't really have that many traditional wingers anymore, do we? He's like a wide.
Just ruined it, Sean. He's going to go into as a midfielder, isn't he?
I think I would imagine so.
Guys, I've been trying to find you a 4.5 million forward, and I'm afraid to say at this point I have absolutely failed.
But I don't know how they look at it. I don't know whether they just, you know what I mean, be a bit ignorant and pull him as a forward. I don't know.
Just hope they don't listen to this.
No, I doubt they will. Let's Mark tips them off or something.
So hang on, if he started out wide, even that for 4.5 million starting forward, fine, isn't it? You go, okay, fine. He's poo, as Tom Cannon would say, from Who Got the Assist, which makes him the reverse OOP. He's poo.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to start him in any case. He's cover, and it's ideal to have someone who think, right, he's going to get minutes. Just genuinely across the season, do you see him being integrated into the first team squad this season and getting minutes?
I think that'll depend on what transfer business they manage to do. Like it wouldn't surprise me if they just got him lined up for a bit of cover. You know, he might play in some cup games, and if there's a few injuries, he'll get game time. But I think if they sign who they want to sign, he might not feature that much. But it's hard to second guess because, like I said, I don't think there's loads of money going around. We definitely need a striker, and we definitely need a centre half. We could also do with a right-sided midfielder. So it may just be that the lad gets game time by virtue of the fact that there's not enough money to address all the issues in the squad this season. And he is a good player. I really like him. I think Branthwaite, Branthwaite's got an opportunity because, like I say, Yerry Mina's gone and Cody's gone. And we've gone from having loads of centre halves to suddenly being short of centre halves because we've got Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate, and Holgate's not really got much of a future. They're looking to move him on, and Ben Godfrey's not very good, certainly not at centre half. So suddenly we look very weak at centre back. So if we go out and we signed an experienced centre half, then Branthwaite's going to struggle for game time, and I could see Dobbin having more game time than he does.
That's interesting. But for Branthwaite, right, what an experience to play for PSV and the Eredivisie regularly as a starter.
Yeah.
You look at that and you think, PSV would probably beat Everton, with due respect, on a neutral venue.
Yeah,
so
anybody beats Everton.
If he's good enough for them, just get him in the Everton team.
Yeah. Absolutely. But there's like goals galore in that league, though, isn't it? It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like.
No, I get that. The standard of what you're defending against is different. We have to acknowledge that, yes.
So we've got. I think the last time he played for us, he got sent off, didn't he? I remember again. I think it was Brentford. Getting old now, so the memory's not so good.
At the 3-2 towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I remember he got dead early red card, didn't he? Got caught up the pitch. I think he pulled Ivan Toney back.
Yeah, rings a bell.
Brought him down, straight red card. I don't think he played again after that. Could be wrong, but I don't think he
did. No, because he'd have been suspended and then went out on loan. So
it'd be interesting. That's again why I hope he plays Saturday, because it'd be good to have another look at him and see how much progression there's been there. But he was fine against Stoke. He looked comfortable. Didn't make any mistakes.
You must, after the game, if he starts, get on the Bird app and tell us how he does, because that's the other thing, right? He could play 60, 70 minutes and you go, tell you what, he's had a disaster there. I think Michael Keane will be back in next week, right? So we can't just judge it on the minutes. It's worth saying, in terms of back to Dobbin, obviously he was on loan at Derby last year. I hadn't scanned it before, just had a look at his goals record. 5 goals in 59 appearances last season. Doesn't scream that it's going to be many attacking returns.
No, it doesn't. But he's like I say, he is. You'd like to think he's playing for the better team.
54 appearances, sorry.
Than Derby. How many?
5 goals.
How many?
54.
I didn't realise you played that many times.
I mean, I'll have a look while you're talking and see how many of them are starts.
Yeah, but yeah, he's you like to think he's playing for the better team, and I just think he's got the attributes that we're sorely lacking. I mean, Demarai Gray had similar attributes, but Demarai Gray would always let himself down with the final ball. Like he'd have a chance to cross and he wouldn't. He'd hold on to it too long, or he'd try to take too many people on. And I think this lad makes smarter decisions than Demarai Gray in the final third, which is mad, because obviously Demarai Gray is very experienced, but he doesn't seem to have learned anything, Demarai Gray. And I think that's why he keeps getting moved around from club to club. I would imagine the coaching staff, he probably just does the red in, and they think no.
At Derby in League One last year, he started 20 games, came on as a substitute in 23. It is worth saying that following a draw against Shrewsbury in early March, he only started 1 game after that. It's all substitute appearances bar 1 game.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, yeah.
He regularly played on the wing for them in the second half of the season. Did occasionally play more central earlier in the season. Yeah. But this is taken from transfer mark, left wing, right wing, essentially, when he did play later in the season. So, yeah he's a midfielder. Don't listen to this, official FPL Towers. I reckon they don't anyway. So I reckon we might be all right. Everyone just needs to get on X and shut up.
Yeah. I
might get the 4.5 forward. He's going to get
I think they'll put him. I'm going to guess that they'll put him in as a forward. But will he put him in? What makes them put it in? Will they? Do you know what I mean? Will they only react because this is the last friendly? If he's in the starting lineup, you know what I mean?
The chances are that's what it's going to be. And judging by what they did with Ian Matson, who really we know by trade is a left back, but obviously in Chelsea's pre-season have been playing as basically a right winger or a 10. They've obviously priced him as a midfielder. So if Dobbin gets involvement tomorrow, the chances are where his involvement, he's probably going to give you the answer. So if he comes on, he plays on a wing, he's going in as a midfielder, isn't he? Or they don't bother. If he starts through the middle, he's going in as a centre forward. So SofaScore and all these places need to get it right as well, right? Or falsify it and change it. If anyone can hack SofaScore and put him as a striker, because the thing is as well with the likes of Dobbin and Branthwaite is, with all due respect, there's other ones like Chukwuemeka, Elliot Anderson, Philogene at Villa, who, I mean, they're all in the midfield area, but you look at them and you think, oh, I might get blocked for 3 players here. What's the chance of me ever hitting the transfer button, even if I went with Dobbin and Branthwaite, and it ever came up and went, you can't make that transfer. You got too many Everton players. Like, I mean, if I ever see that, I've got serious issues, haven't I? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But that's also why these players really appeal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think from our discussion, Dobbin, if he's given a price, probably come in as a midfielder, and he probably won't play any minutes at all. We'll just waste everybody's time. DCL, he's not going to make it. He's going to make. Didn't he play 45 minutes in a week?
Yeah, he did. But I just think I don't know. I just think Dom's a broken footballer.
Sad, man.
I don't really get it. I don't know whether he's just doesn't trust himself. So he's, any slight twinge, he's saying he's not fit. I don't know. It's bizarre, but I don't think we're going to. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see him have a run of starts like he was putting in under Carlo Ancelotti. I just don't think we're going to see that again. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the club are now. Sean Dyche must be planning that anything he gets out of him is a bonus. And he's just looking at who he can bring in and basically play the season without him, so to speak. You know what I mean? And like I say, if he contributes, then great. But I just don't think he can be relied on at all.
Just favour, Sean, your headphones, is it scratching on your shirt? Or your earphones, where your little speaker is? Just give it a little lift off your shirt if you can, please, bud. Mm-hmm. That'll do you. Blinded. The thing is, though, with DCL, I look at his performances at Brighton, and even more so, even in the draw at Leicester, and you think, God, you're still a player in there, could be a massive threat. And right now, there's a massive problem for players, for people who want forwards in FPL, with Jesus ruled out, and Kunku at time of recording is obviously a very serious doubt. And you do look at those Everton fixtures and think, if I knew I could get 8 starts out of him, I'd be very interested. There is no chance of knowing that you're going to get 8 starts out of him. But it'd be handy to know if I knew he was going to start even in game week 1, which obviously we can't guarantee at this moment. Dyche was very cautious with him on his return last year. He won't have had the preseason that others will have had. And I guess that probably wouldn't have been the case anyway because of his historicals. What would you put his percentage chance at starting game week 1 as we stand now? And I guess we'll get more info again tomorrow.
Oh, I think 0.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. I don't think there's any chance he starts against Fulham.
Scratch that.
I can't see how they'd risk it. Like, they have to risk it at the back end of last season because, why wouldn't you? I remember saying to people, the likes of Yerry Mina and Calvert-Lewin, you may as well just start them because we're running out of games. We might go down, but they're not going to risk him at the start of the season. It just doesn't make any logical sense to, especially with no other, out and out 9 in the building. So I think they'll probably try and work on signing someone in the background. But I think when we play against Fulham, I think he'd be on the bench at best.
So, Danjuma at 9, is that what we think at the moment?
I'd imagine so. I mean, I just don't see any benefit in playing Mopé. It's like the Michael Keane thing. Dyche gave him opportunities last season, and he's just crap every time. He wasn't even average. He was just appalling. I think he's only getting minutes pre-season because we haven't got anyone else. I'd imagine Dyche is absolutely desperate for them to get somebody in and move Mopé on. So that's what I'd do. I'd play Danjuma up top and play Dobbin out wide.
But do you think that's what Dyche will do?
It's not a very Dyche-like thing to do, is it? But
I know he can play it. Antonio Conte thought Arnaut Danjuma was a forward rather than a wide player. I mean, most other people think Arnaut Danjuma is best on the left wing. But there's a historical there with another manager who has deemed him as a forward player, really.
Yeah. He's got a good goal scoring record from being up front as well.
But there's question marks as a likeable player. Question marks have to linger on why all of a sudden was he so explosive for Villarreal in the Champions League 2 years ago, and suddenly on consecutive windows they can't seem to wait to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Why is that?
No.
And obviously didn't pull up any trees at Tottenham, which he was a little bit unfortunate about, because once Conte had deemed him as a forward, got Kane standing in the way, right? And even if Kane wasn't first, it was probably going to pick Richarlison ahead of him as well, right? So it became awkward.
But that's why I didn't really, from a footballer's point of view and where he is in his career, I really didn't get, and obviously didn't like the fact that he then went from Everton to Tottenham at the last minute, because it's pretty obvious he was not going to get a look in, and he was going to be relying on somebody getting injured. So we'll obviously get that Tottenham are much better than us and winning the Champions League. But I thought, well, when you're on loan, you haven't really got anything to lose by joining a team where you know you're going to play week in, week out. And if they go down, well, so what? You're not part of that in terms of you're not attached to that club. So you're putting yourself in the shop window. It's like when all those years ago we got Kevin Campbell in on loan, and his career took off again. You know, he come to us. I think it was from Trabzonspor. We were in the relegation zone. He started banging in the goals, kept Everton up. He was a hero. We signed him, and he was brilliant for us. And Danjuma had that opportunity to play for Everton week in, week out, score some goals, and he could have got a permanent transfer then.
That'd be silly. You can't afford him.
To someone. So it was a bit. I just, you're saying, how come he's gone from scoring goals in the Champions League to Villarreal, so they can't wait to get rid of him? To me, there must be something questionable about his approach or his attitude, and because
his mentality at Tottenham came across as really good. I mean that honestly. He came across as an extremely likable character, and he was constantly posting stuff on like Instagram and stuff like that of him working out. He was posting videos of him like training at the training centre at Tottenham. It's dark, and this is in like springtime and stuff. And you think, fucking, maybe working too hard, mate. So he was really trying to prove himself and was putting the extra in. So everything that I saw over the last 6 months in terms of his character and stuff, I'd say no question, seemed really good. Yeah. So I can't put my finger on it.
Interesting, but he's definitely going to get game time. He's definitely going to start for us, whether it's up front or it's out wide. And like I said, he's got a really decent goal scoring pedigree. So, I mean, how much is I've been looked at him? How much is he?
He's 5.5 in midfield.
Yeah,
and there's certain lineups at the moment. I think particularly those who want to go with, sorry to mention him, Trent, where someone at that sort of valuation, either in midfield or forward, suddenly becomes really useful and enables it to happen. So you're looking at people like him or Enciso, for example, or João Pedro. I know what you're going to say, Brighton are better than Everton, and they've also got a good fixture. I hear you, but I'm also far more confident that Danjuma will play.
Yeah. And
also, okay, Everton aren't going to score as much as Brighton. Yeah, sure. It's much more difficult to guess who's going to score for Brighton. If you're going to get goals, it's probably going to be set pieces / him.
Yeah.
If Calvert-Lewin's not available, you look at the rest of that. McNeil now out as well. You're going to talk up Iwobi for me again?
No.
Iwobi probably starts at the moment, doesn't he? By default, has to.
I was talking him up when he was in a purple patch and everything was going through him, but that sort of changed positionally. He's playing a bit of a different role and stuff, and he's he dropped off towards the end of last season. I mean, he works hard. He does, you can't knock his effort, and it's great that he now resembles a footballer, because for most of his Everton career he was horrendous, and for the last year and a half he's pulled his weight at minimum, but he's only got like a year left on his contract. I think he's looking to move on a free transfer, because apparently he wants like silly money to sign a new deal, so Everton just aren't going to offer him what he wants. So I can't imagine. So I think he'll just go on a free next summer. But he's got to play on the right, really, because there's no other options until we sign somebody. But he's not, he doesn't get goals.
He wouldn't be an FPL consideration. If it'd have been 5 million, maybe. No, he's not worth, 5.5.
Not worth considering. I think McNeil would have been worth considering, but obviously he's picked up an injury like so many other FPL options seem to.
Who will take your corners from that side, do you think? Just out of interest. guess it could be Ashley Young, couldn't it? Mind you, there'll be out
Um,
swingers. I'm with McNeil. I think very much that kind of in swinging. I think of like Tarkowski's goal against Arsenal. Why is that the one I remember? I wonder. But who would, if Ashley Young's going to play left back, McNeil's not going to play. The only left footer in your team would be Pickford. I presume he's not going to take the corners from that side.
You'd think not, wouldn't you? You never know with Jordan. Maybe he will.
If Postecoglou was manager, I'd say maybe. Under Sean Dyche, no chance.
It can only be Young, I'd imagine. I mean,
probably, yeah.
Gray's probably going to depart, so Gray, McNeil, yeah. Ashley Young and Iwobi, I'd imagine.
I'm trying to remember now. Was McNeil taking all the corners, or would you have been in swingers right-footed as well?
I can't. Do you know what? I can't even remember. I think he was taking most of it.
Dyche he always has loved it. That real kind of in swinging over the keeper to the back post. He loves that corner routine. And it don't really work without swingers. So yeah, I don't see. Maybe a left foot will be a priority because that's such a source of potential goals for you, isn't it? Maybe we'll look for a left-footed player.
But he just spammed that back post corner far too much. It was like all we done was go to the back post.
I wonder, and I'd not considered this before. Just looking through the makeup of your squad, and actually probably the only other suitable left footer, I guess, to take the would be Mykolenko. And I wonder if that puts him back in the team. That might sound silly.
It won't. He's crap. And I remember, what was the game? Can't remember the game. But he took a corner and he was like, I've never seen a professional footballer be so reluctant to want to take a corner. And it was an absolute shocker. And it was as if he just sort of like looked and went, well, that's it. I'm not even trying again. You can't make me take one. I'm just not doing it. He's garbage. He's absolutely garbage. Like he's a proper old school defender. You know what I mean? Like he's decent at defending, but once he crosses the halfway line, he offers nothing really. I know he scored that amazing goal against Leicester, but he's crap. He's not Premier League standard. He won't be taking corners.
So do you think it'd be Ashley Young then?
Yeah,
on all of them as it would stand with what's available.
He's dead versatile, Ashley Young, isn't he? So
yeah, I can see him playing the corner and chipping it rather than putting the whip and bend on it. So he'll whip from the far side if he's doing it right-footed. That makes sense. Far side, that's great for the listeners, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, as you were attacking, if you will. From the right-hand side, I think you'll take the same type of corner, but you'll look at a kind of a chipped, flatter. Because I just know that the target is the back post. If he's going to play kind of out swingers with whip, you'll be easier to defend at corners. That ball that flights just over the keeper's head is rough because you've got a keeper turning, and so many teams are zonal now in the way they defend corners that if you've got the runner at the back post, like that Tarkowski goal against Arsenal, you're in. If the delivery's right, it's a goal.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds, you can make it all sound very tempting, James, but the fun, when it comes down to it, we don't score goals, do we? We've struggled in pre-season.
No, but then let's also again go back to like a Branthwaite or even I'm definitely seeing James Tarkowski in teams, by the way, at 4.5 because of those fixture and stuff. The thing with Tarkowski is, and because you don't score many goals in a weird way, these guys are more attractive because you know that he could score like that day against Arsenal, and if that happens, it's 15 points.
Yeah, but he's good. He is good for bonus points, isn't he? Tarkowski and Pickford, I think, are the best, or were the best last season. 2 Everton players for bonus points.
Let's be honest. Look at it. If you look at them 8 fixtures, and if you went with someone like Tarkowski, I'd guess at the maximum you'd probably pick him for 6 fixtures. I know he scored against Arsenal last year, but you wouldn't feel comfortable with it. Villa away, you wouldn't feel comfortable. Brentford away, it probably depends where you're at. Let's say you pick him 6, the other 6 of the 8 maybe, and you're looking at a rotational option. If Everton only kept clean sheets in 2 and he scored in those 2 and he's picking up 1 or 2 points in the other 6, he's worth having. Just on the overall. So on across an average there, you're looking at like 4 or 5 points as an average, right? For 4.5 defender. So listen, the output would have to be there in terms of the attacking return, I think. But again, look at them fixtures. You look at the teams you're playing. Fulham, potentially without Mitrovic. Wolves speaks for itself. Haven't got a forward that is reliable. Sheffield United, even at Bramall Lane, have just sold their best player. Beyond that, a couple more. You got Luton at home, Bournemouth at home. Can't sit there and say there's not clean sheet potential in really 5 of those 8 games. And that's why, if Branthwaite, he goes in, mate, if he's going to play. And even if he doesn't, others are still looking at Tarkowski, Pickford. I think my point would be, if we think Branthwaite is going to go in and start, it rules out the other 2. If you think Michael Keane's going to play, would you have a preference between Pickford and Tarkowski?
I don't think you can go. I don't think you can go there if Keane plays. I honestly don't think it'll be.
Makes you worse defensively.
Get clean sheets. I'd definitely swerve it if Michael Keane's playing. But no, I'm not really sure if I would have a preference between Pickford and Tarkowski. It's tricky, isn't it? I suppose it depends on the makeup of your team, and if you didn't have, I don't think there's that many goalkeeper options, is there, this year? I mean, I think most people have got a Norton, haven't they? 5 million. So it's like, I think Pickford would be a shout because you can save a bit of money.
There's only 3 goalkeepers currently under. There's only 3 goalkeepers currently at this minute under consideration for that, and Pickford is one of them.
Yeah, I've got Fleck in at the minute.
He's also on the list, and you mentioned the other one. There you go. That's the 3 in mind for me at the moment.
They were my 3. It's just I've got, like I say, I've got at the minute. I'm expecting Keane to start, so then that would rule out Pickford for me. But if Branthwaite starts, then I might have another look at it.
We're going to go Branthwaite and Pickford, but then that's half the point, isn't it? You'd probably rather go Branthwaite and then go Flecken rather than go to 2 Everton.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go. Yeah, I wouldn't go to Everton. No, you're right. I would go. Yeah, I'd go Flecken and Branthwaite if Branthwaite starts. Yeah, or I'd definitely consider it.
If we're saying Young's on corners, do we need to give that a second thought?
I don't know. I don't see. I mean, you picked out like 6 fixtures. I reckon there'd be 1 goal from a corner at most.
I think there'd be more. The other thing is as well with your corners, I'm really scraping the barrel here and trying to get Everton attacking returns. But you don't, because you always go back post, you don't tend to get many where it's like corners delivered, someone flicks it on and then someone else scores. It's normally on someone's bonnet in the net. That's generally how it works, unless it's a little bit too deep and then it gets headed back across. But it's normally this player's the target. His role is to try and get on the end of it and literally score. That's it. So your delivery taker does get a bit more. Like Tottenham had this routine we've seen a lot the last few years under Antonio Conte, was near post flick on for Kane then round the back. So it was actually whoever was the flicking it on was the player that was quite likely to get the assist. That's not the case for you. It is the taker will most likely get the assist. Yeah.
I think it's just a shame that McNeil's got injured, because I think that run of fixtures, he'd be the standout one worth having a dabble if you wanted to try to, get something from an Everton player for that run. I think he is he 5.5 like McNeil?
Yeah. Yeah, he could have been considered with the fixtures, I think.
Even though he's a million sort of more than most people you'd consider, I think you're definitely going to get stuff from him. He's pleasantly surprised me. He's much.
He had a strong finish to the season, mate. I mean, that Brighton performance was ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It's like just mental. I mean, if that's that to see that's what he's capable, because he isn't quick, is he? That was my biggest gripe about him when we signed him, because he isn't a quick player. I was worried. Like it made sense to me. His productivity is not that great. But yeah, I mean, against Brighton, he was just outstanding, and in some of the other games, he's got brilliant composure, and he has got a lot of quality. It's just typical Everton. bad luck that he'd pick up an injury.
Yeah, he will be a miss. Cut the quick fires for you on a couple of players we haven't mentioned. Andre Gomez, has he been playing at all in the friendlies? He's back at the club.
Yeah, he has featured, but he doesn't look bothered, to be honest. He doesn't look like a player who's hungry to get his name on the starting team sheet.
Wouldn't be under consideration. My thought process was obviously he hadn't worked with Dyche before. Maybe Dyche would like him.
I can't see Gomez getting much of a look in, really.
Okay, that's your not your 4.5 million midfielder. As we got into game week 38, a lot of people were talking about McNeil and stuff, and I was very much tipping up Decore, who proved to be the decisive goal scorer on that particular day. I'm claiming that one as a win.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned him. Presumably under your system, again, it will be him that's allowed to join in with a front player, no?
Yeah.
He also started really well a few years ago in FPL.
That's right, he did.
Sean, we've had a brilliant chat about Everton FPL assets here. Are you okay?
Still full of drugs.
This is what a good set of fixtures does to you, mate. Do you expect James?
I'm just
Garner...
going along with it, James. I'm just trying to, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to engage you. You're the host. It's your show.
Look, I'll tell you what. If you're looking for a midfielder under 0.5% owned, I think you can do a lot worse than Abdoulaye Doucouré. Problem is, he's same price as Danjuma, so it makes it a difficult case for him. I think you probably do go with Danjuma, I think.
Yeah.
Do you expect James Garner to play more this year?
Played
quite a bit towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I do. I think he'll feature. Like even in pre-season, I mean, Arnaut had a bit of an injury, but even though Arnaut's back, you know, James Garner's still featuring quite heavily, and he was brilliant at right back, particularly in the Bournemouth game.
So he's still playing that. Because obviously that's where he played. He played right wing back for you in the last two games last year. And he also played right back for the England under 21s as well. My assumption was that he'd probably come back to you and go back into midfield. But you're saying he's still covering at right back, I guess, because there isn't alternatives, right?
No, that's it. It's like Patterson will play right back, but then if Patterson goes off, or you know, if he's not playing, or
Garner will cover down,
then we've got Garner to cover. So that's why there's no massive need to rush Seamus Coleman back, and there's, you know, it's another option because Seamus is obviously going to still miss a decent amount of games. He's pretty injury prone now anyway, and playing 2 games a week would be a challenge for him. So it's good that we have got that extra cover in Garner. And there's talk about Anana leaving. So
he's the one real sellable asset, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's I mean, we spoke about him before. Definitely think he's a player with a lot of potential. But he is still very raw, and defensively he's not great. You know, he doesn't track runners around him very well. You can easily run off him. He won't pick up his man, which is just dead annoying. So it sort of overrides any good work he does for me on the ball offensively, because it's horrible to see when you concede and he's just let somebody go. So James Garner will definitely feature heavily for us.
Okay. And one player we obviously haven't mentioned, very dear to my heart, Dele. He's obviously not going to be involved game week 1. We know that, but thoughts on him potentially being reintegrated into this?
I hope he is. I hope he is. I think everybody now, you know, after listening to the lad, you just want him to get playing football again, don't you? And do well for someone. It doesn't matter who it is. But you know, I'd love it to be us. I'd love him to be able to stay injury free, get some fitness, and then be an option for Doucouré. So, you know, he starts coming on in games, make an impact, and then get some starts. And I think, you know, a goal or two would do him the world of good. It certainly was the world of good. And then things start looking a bit better, don't they? You know, if you've got Dele in the team and we sign a centre forward and we've got Danjuma out wide, suddenly there's a lot more goal threat about Everton.
You getting bloody carried away.
Yeah.
No one was expecting this.
I know.
I'm pretty sure
it's pre-season, isn't it?
When to finish this, I put a survey out to all you guys. And one of the things on the survey was who's the most overpriced player in FPL. And someone put, what are you laughing for? Someone put every Everton player. Was that you by chance?
I don't know, possibly. Don't know. Can't remember.
And yet, across this, Decore, Danjuma, McNeil would have been on this, but he's not fit. Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Young, and Pickford, you could make a legitimate case for. And Dobbin hasn't got his price yet.
No.
So, them fixtures, listen, if you had the start that Bournemouth have got, we'd have struggled here. But because those fixtures are good, take advantage of it. Because, by the way, with that set of fixtures, I hope you don't come out that Bournemouth game in game week 8 in the bottom 3.
Oh,
because you need to start well. To be honest, you need to come out that Bournemouth game and you need to be pushing towards mid-table as kind of a minimum requirement. Which is the opposite to say, like with Jack on the last podcast, we said if you come out of game week 8 where they've got Chelsea at home and you're in the bottom 3, it doesn't really matter so much because then your good run then starts. You need to start well, mate.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what that's the worrying thing, because I don't think we're in great shape. I don't think we've done anywhere near the recruiting that we needed to do to be confident of getting wins early doors. I think we're just in a position where we're potentially going to waste that really good start. And then, so if the window closes, but then if the pressure's right on, because we haven't won many games, it's going to be a long old season. So, yeah.
I think once again, you'll be relying quite heavily on your home games. And this is the bit that makes me really nervous about after that Bournemouth game in game week 8. Your home games after that running into the new year are Brighton, Manchester United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Tottenham. You play Crystal Palace at home in game week 25.
Yeah, that's depressing.
Sorry, mate. So, start well. Where do you think you finish?
Oh, no. Well, I said, I think I predicted 18th on my predictions.
I'm not surprised.
But, yeah, I don't think we've done anywhere near enough in the transfer market. And with McNeil getting injured, Yerry Mina and Cody being gone, Dom looking broken, no striker replacement in. Oh, it doesn't look good. I think Dyche is going to have to perform a minor miracle again. I think we're back looking at praying that there's 3 teams worse than us. Don't know how there was last year. The Leicester thing will always confuse me. I don't get how they got relegated, and we stayed up.
Because you're fated to stay up, mate.
Hey,
you are fated to stay up.
Yeah,
he's now what I've concluded. I've concluded in my life that you're fated.
It's not possible for Everton to be relegated. I wish that was true.
There is some sort of glass thing where it's like, shit, they're really bad. Someone sell all of Palace's players or something. Drop someone in there to make sure Everton don't go down. I think there's always a cautious. Genuinely, my lifetime is Everton and there'll be people a lot older than me. Can't remember a world without Everton in the top division, but in fact, it's probably going to be nearly everybody watching or listening to this. Can't remember a world where Everton weren't in the top division. So it does have that, Villa have been, Leeds have been, Newcastle have been, never Everton. Not in our lifetimes. It always just feels the amount of near misses you've had, both back in the 90s and recently, that you'll be all right. And to be honest with you, my biggest fault on Luton and Sheffield United coming up and the fact they're really handicapped in terms of they can't spend a lot of money. I think Everton are going to get away with it again. And guess what? Since we recorded with Bradley Parker, Jeff Shees put an open letter out to Wolves fans and basically said, can't spend any money, lads.
Oh, okay. I think that's
they're now in your position.
I think that's our only hope, really. That I think it's Everton or Wolves. I mean, that's assuming Luton and Sheffield United go the way everybody thinks, but that does not, that doesn't always happen, does it? So
no, of course not.
But I think that's what we're. Yeah, I think if we could be better than Wolves, Luton, and Sheffield United,
it will do the job.
Then yeah.
Unfortunately, look, for those who've never listened to us before, Everton's expectation should not be 17th, but we've spoken about this a lot. And we're basically coming now into sort of roughly year 3 of 5, where we said it's going to be 5 years of pain for Everton. There's a couple more to go, and it just needs surviving to get in that stadium, change the revenue, and then build it back. And he's literally that at the moment. He's keep your head above water for the next few years. I know it's not what Everton fans want. It's not where you should be.
But that's realistic.
Right now, 17th will be a success again, and that's where I think they'll finish.
Yeah.
By like 3 goals or something like that.
Last day of the season.
How many of the correspondents you think predicted you to go down?
8.
So you're saying you were 1, yeah? You said you went for 18 because you're a pessimistic, bleep this, please, Nico, right? 3 others. That's it.
Okay. Don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I know last season, I think it was over 50% thought we'd go down.
Listen, 95% of them thought Tottenham would finish 3rd.
Yeah.
only another 5 said 17th.
No, okay.
So over half the correspondents think you won't finish in the bottom 4.
They might just be like you though. They might just be thinking there's some weird force that just means Everton have to stay up.
Get away with it.
Just gone. Yeah, they're not. There's no point saying they're going to go down because it can't happen. So.
And by the way, we've spoken about those really rough home games that you have kind of after this good run. I look at the end in the last 6 games, you've got Bournemouth, Burnley, Forest, and you finish with Brentford at home, I think. So, yeah, there's more there, mate. So if you need the points at the end, you'll get them. You'll win like 4 of the last 6 if you need it to stay up, mate. It's how it works for you, mate.
You can already see how this season's gonna go, can't you?
Yeah, you're going to struggle.
It's gonna be another season of depression, and then hopefully get enough points in the last few games of the season. Jesus Christ, I can't do this again, man.
One very last, very, very final quick question. Regular question I get from people is, if you could say to someone, "Oh, tell me a stadium to go to. You know, I'm coming to England for a couple of weeks. Tell me which Premier League stadium to try and get a ticket for." Go to Goodison before it goes. Simple as that. Go to Goodison and experience Goodison before it goes. And if you can, do it for a night game.
Yeah, absolutely. Not long left. Just over a year. And then it'll be gone forever.
It'll be sad, mate. Won't be sad for me. I look forward to, like, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to talk about the facilities at Goodison, but leave that for another day. Sean, pleasure, mate. Anything you want to plug?
No, not even my own Twitter account.
I'll do it on X at Spirit_Blues is where you can follow Sean, because you're going to give us a Jarrad Branthwaite and Lewis Dobbin update after that game tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, and it'll have to be after the game because the connection's shocking at Goodison. So I will post some stuff after it, definitely.
Noted. I'll be retweeting that on my timeline as well. Brilliant stuff. Right, tomorrow, the final day of Correspondent Week. I'll have 2 big ones for the end. Arsenal, Adam Pritchard gets to say his words because everyone's been bantering Arsenal all week. I don't know why. And Brighton with Sam Murray's your last 2 podcasts coming up on Correspondent Week Saturday. That's it for your Friday. Just leaves me to say thanks so much to Sean. Cue music, please, man child.